Welcome, OverPower fans, to round 3 of the Champ of Champs. We've got a very exciting round here. We have tournament OverPower veterans, legends, people who've been playing for a long time, Sean Ballantyne and Phil Miller. Unarguably, two of the best players in the game. You know, Sean Ballantyne, for a long stretch of time, was the best player in the game. Phil Miller clearly, most recently, has had years and years where he was the strongest player in the game. And then co-commentating with me is, I would arguably say, one of the best to ever play the game. Last year's Player of the Year, Phil the King Keffer. Phil, it's great to have you.
Thanks, Joe. Always great to be here. This is a heavyweight bout, like you mentioned. Sean and Phil are both.
Now, excitingly, and what not that I'm never one to root against anybody, but I really love when new players have success. Seeing Andrew Taylor this year win the Battle of Boston with a completely original deck idea was one of my favorite OverPower moments in the last decade. So what's interesting here about this match is Sean Ballantyne and Phil are both some of the best players, but both had a pretty rocky start to this tournament. So they're going into round 3. They both lost their first 2 rounds. So they are both 0-0 going into round 3. Now, a lot of times, if you take a third loss at the beginning of an event, generally you have random tiebreakers unless you get very lucky and your first 2 rounds are somehow against people that just go on to win all their matches. A lot of times, if you even win out and go 4-3, 7 rounds of Swiss, it's not enough to beat another 4-3 person that has better tiebreakers. So these guys are going into this match probably thinking their entire tournament is on the line.
No, Joe, it is. It is in this match, though. This is only 5 rounds of Swiss today at the Champs. So they for sure have games.
Right, I forgot we're not doing 7 rounds. So yeah, so this is a very important match for these guys to get into the top 8 here. That's right, I've been saying 7 rounds of Swiss. We are only doing 5 rounds for the Champ of Champs. So absolutely. So this is the tournament life. So we wanted to put these 2 big players on the stream and just see how they play against each other. So let's get over to the match and see how these guys are doing. We are recording the commentary after the fact. This is going to be the first event where we have had the new going second rule. So the rule, we talked about this in some other videos. If you win the die roll or the coin flip, you can choose to go first or second. If you go second, you get to draw 1 card if you have a discard or a duplicate. So they look to tie. It looks like they just tied 2 rolls in a row.
No, I think Sean had a 4 there to Phil's 3. So probably.
Okay. Now, Sean and I have debated this a little bit. We disagree. Sean believes you should always choose going second, or at least he did starting this event. But I think chatting with him a little bit after, I'd be interested to see, because I think he said a number of the times he chose to go second, he just didn't have a duplicate and he wished he was going first. It's a tough choice against a White Queen. White Queen, like Heroes for Hire, has a JW. So I imagine that's what the conversation is about right now, is Sean's probably lamenting, like, I want to go second because I want to draw that dupe. However, I don't want to give you the ability to go first with the JW character.
Yeah. I mean, Phil's deck is very dangerous as far as hitting because he's got the JZ also coming out of Moment, different suit.
Yep.
And he also has the ability to power mimic either one of them. So if Phil wants to hit you, he's going to hit you.
Phil's got I really like, I think Phil gets teased a lot for the player who's played Cadillac adjacent decks the most. And so he's still using a Spawn's Doctor Strange stack, which if you're in Energy, you're gonna. But I do kind of commend him for doing a Mole Man, 3 characters that have a 6 intellect, and also playing the Armory, which is not something I think Phil's really played around with much. He's been almost entirely in any hero's guy. So, and then on the other side, of course, close to my own heart, Cyclops, one of my all-time favorite characters. I had a 4th place finish with him in Oklahoma at the beginning of this year. God, I can't even keep it straight. But I had a great deck. It looks like Sean's doing a couple of the things I did, which is I had an armory deck at one stage where I was running the. So Cyclops has the nines that are non one per deck, but if he hits Cyclops and teammates can't defend Cyclops with specials. But that Captain Universe, basic universe, can go on the armory, and it does increase the numerical value of a non one per deck special by one. So Sean's going to be looking to use that to boost one of those nines to a 10. And he's looking to use it in exactly the deck that he's coming up against. Guy with a 9 or less avoid, a 6 or less avoid. The only thing he's hoping to get around is that negate.
Yeah, Marcel and I used that strategy with Heroes for Hire this summer with that Captain Universe, and I think we found that you throw special cards through acrobatics really fast.
That's actually a huge advantage to it too that I remember doing when I was playing it, but I wasn't thinking of it now. So both of these guys, you're going to see some fast play. So, Phil put a couple of teamworks, a couple of power cards, 3 teamworks, 3 power cards. They're all playable. Didn't really get to any of his specials. Sean's got X-Man fully loaded, another teamwork, a couple power cards. So pretty similar initial placings, but Sean Ballantyne chooses to go 1 and run. Now, Phil Miller draws the event. Any character may play any other character's specials. So Phil could choose to keep certain defensive cards in his hand if he wanted to. I'd be interested to see what his strategy is for playing that card.
Now, does that allow you to play placed cards to other characters? Because I would guess no.
You have to play, you don't have access to play other placed cards because of the normal placing rules. But if, for example, you had an avoid 1 attack for Jubilee placed to your home base, anyone would be able to use it off the home base placing slot.
Okay. I also wanted to point out that Sean did choose to go second and get to draw a card at the beginning.
Did he actually draw it? Did you notice?
He did. He had 2/8 and
All right, so we're going to start to see these guys are both looking to throw a lot of teamwork heat. So Phil Miller controls the ability to go first because Sean chose to run away. Phil throws an 8 teamwork from Spawn, follows up with a multi from the White Queen. And he's got a lot of teamworks, but he's going to throw that 1 fighting from Mole Man. And Sean's going to go 1, 2, 3 and defend him.
yeah, I think that both of these guys, like you said, are going to have a lot of teamworks and a lot of speed. You can see X-Man's got that multi-4 place there. Spawn also has that multi-4 making a difference.
So Sean just showed a 3rd power card, but was he discarding a dupe that he'd missed? Because it doesn't look like Phil's taking the 1 fighting away. That was the 3rd attack of the string.
Certainly looked like a block.
All right, he's going to go with an ally. One of the commentary for now until we get a little bit of a tech upgrade. We don't always hear who's the attack, who it's coming from. But Phil uses his spell of protection. I'm a big fan of just getting that off. And it's probably from Scarlet Witch. He chooses to do the 4 multi, make an additional, a card we were just talking about. Always a great card.
You're going to come with the 8. It's already discarded one. Hard choice. Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so he's throwing a 7, and he draws the negate. I think you're always happy if a 7 attack draws the negate.
I mean, I would negate it too. Well, maybe not with that 1 power card, strength power card place. Typically, I would negate that. Given that I can see that, I'm
Phil's going to throw. Sean immediately lets it hit. Phil throws another one, and
good lord.
just pummels the Scarlet Witch. Wow, that's pretty rough right there. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that plays into Sean Ballantyne's strategy. I can't imagine it does, but Phil right now has 27 points of venture to Sean's 9. That's going to be a hard barrier for Sean to get up over the top. And Sean concedes. So that looks to be a pretty rough hand too for Sean.
That looked like a game-winning teamwork. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, he is playing any heroes and didn't have his avoid. I don't even know. Do you know what Sean plays as his Cataclysm?
I don't. I would be, I don't. And he might not be playing the Fairy Protection, which is the most popular, because Cyclops can't use it later. Now, Sean seems frustrated. He gets dupes. He gets all three of his sixes and then dupes an additional eight. So he has three dupes. Now, the only saving grace is Phil Miller dupes a third Mole Man negate and another card. So Sean's not down card advantage, but he is down a character.
Down missions and he's down a character, and I'm sure he's frustrated because it probably means he's out of the tournament and can pull off a miracle here. So that duped hand right there is, I can feel that.
But I never count any of these players out,
No,
I
you
will
can't.
also say one thing that I've noticed playing against Sean Ballantyne, I've killed a character early and gotten cocky. Sean generally only plays, I know a lot of the times I've played his decks and he's running 2 to 3 cards for each character. So it really minimizes it when he loses somebody, which I have to say is a smart strategy. You get real greedy and you want to play every great card they have, but he's pretty disciplined with his card count.
Yeah, if you can get away with that, yes, Sean does very.
Phil looks like he took a pretty good hit on dupes there. I couldn't quite count it, but he did. He looked like he showed at least two, maybe three. Sean places his lockout for X-Man on the home base. Um, Sean is running Kali. That is a card that is defensive, and it says opponent may not concede. If they negate the card at any point, they automatically concede the battle. That's an interesting variation we created. We didn't want we wanted it to be defensive, but we didn't want people to have to spend 2 turns to get out from under it. One unintended consequence we didn't think of in the design is where you have to attack with the negate if it's in hand. There's been a couple times where people they wanted to pass and win the venture. They were forced to negate it and make themselves concede. So that's a little bit of a bummer way that worked with a rule we weren't intending. Not going to be an issue in the new game.
Just because of the way the rules are going to work, Joe.
Yeah, the attacks are going to be defined as only against a target character or location. So it's not going to be considered an attack anymore to do anything. We wanted to really streamline these rules. So if you're a new player and you say, well, what is an attack? An attack, did it target a character? Did it target a location? If it didn't, then it's not an attack. It's just a
That makes
utility card.
sense. It's just like the offensive action.
Yeah, so it's an offensive action. We've been calling it a utility action, but I kind of refer to it a little more as offensive because I don't really think of discard 3 cards as a utility. It's definitely an offensive action. It's just not a direct attack.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't avoid it, it's not an
Yep.
sort of, right? That's what
Yeah.
it's going to be like in the new game.
Exactly, yeah. And then we are currently defining success as only against the character itself. So yeah, Phil's doing exactly what he does here. He's maintaining a placing advantage. He's being really disciplined, as he always is at playing cards from his hand. He's just peppering Sean with the teamworks, keeping Sean on his heels. We talked about this in the David McMillan game. I think Phil's success has always come from he's the best player that I've ever played against. It really tracking his placing advantage, and I've never talked to him a lot about this, but I think he's very good at counting which cards have gone by. He seems to always know exactly when you're out of defense and which holes you have in your defense. So, there's not it's so many games I've thought I've had Phil Miller and he's able to just come back or all right, so Phil tries to concede, Sean plays the Kali and forces him to fight. So we're going to see if he's only got 2 cards in hand, and it looks like one of them's an offensive card for White Queen. The other one is the JZ for the Mole Man. So we're going to see now. Sean has done this defensively. He gets a full volley here. Let's see if he can take advantage of it.
Yeah, it costs you a card, but it can win you the game in the right spot.
So Sean's going to be throwing that from one of the characters that isn't Cyclops. Phil's going to go to his Dracula's Armory to block the initial, and then we're going to see the multi come out. He's going to, if that hits, it's going to put White Queen in a position where anything will kill her. Phil's going to opt to block up, lose a few points of venture, and then Phil's going to negate the Kali, which will give him an instant concede.
Wow, it's gonna be nice card advantage going into the next.
Mhm. But I will say, yeah, like Sean's done a pretty good job here of. Oh, did
Oh,
Sean have a negate in his hand?
yeah,
Oh, Sean held the negate. Is gonna fire back against the White Queen. That is brutal. And he takes her out, kills one of the cards in Phil Miller's hand. Ooh.
beautiful.
We
Yeah,
may have seen a turn here. Sean Ballantyne putting himself back in the game. We may see him pull out a victory here after all. That Kali, not a lot of people won't play that, but we are definitely seeing Ballantyne use it to some very good effect here.
wow, that might be a dead card already right there. That Finest
He,
Tower.
why? Yeah, I'm really interested as to why he would play it there. I would have,
Put it on X.
yeah, I mean, you could have at least tried to tie up the 8, forced him to use the lockout. I don't think Sean has any other cards in hand. Sean's gonna defend the. Oh, Sean's got cards in his hand. We just can't see his hand. His hand is off to the side. That's what's going on.
I'm going for X. It's already played.
Oh my God! And he's peppered him again.
Wow.
Phil Miller has no defense. He is stuck in the hand. He cannot concede. Sean has taken out 2 characters.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen this card work so well.
Sean's playing Web-Headed Wizard. I'm not sure what's going on here, but is he trying? He picked up his deck, and I think Phil's like, no, 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 it's out of your dead pile.
That's not what you're allowed to pick through.
That is a much better card if it's from your deck.
Much. Does he
So
even
that
have anything playable? He has a multi 4.
I think the multi 4 was still out there. Oh, it might. No, it would have gone. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Good call. Phil reveals he has the White Queen card,
he had to
and
pass.
wow, what a crazy hand! What a crazy game! Phil looked like he had this locked up early with just an absolutely killer teamwork string to knock out Scarlet Witch in the first hand. The first hand they fought, second hand. Now he finds himself with his reserve character who's already used 1 spell of protection, and the Mole Man who's a max 6 and generally a little more. He's seen 3 of his negates go by, and he's seen 1 of his JZs. This is going to be nearly impossible for Phil to come back from at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even really been seeing spawn specials. Oh, and Sean's got an.
It looks like the event's going to be no activators because he
Oh, he
had 2
does.
of them.
Yeah, has to be, right?
Oh, and that's why he was discarding all those activators. So Phil, what does he have? 2 cards in his hand?
Down to no cards?
2. I think he has 2. It looks like Sean only went 3.
Oh my. Sean now has 2 cards placed to him? Oh, no, that 9 is from before. He's just putting it there.
Yeah, he's so yeah, for our viewers, Sean has slid the 9 underneath Cyclops. Just that is not a placed card. He's doing that to remind himself that teammates and Cyclops cannot defend Cyclops with specials. We have a new way of denoting cards that do that. That would have a line and then an A saying if it's ever removed, it will still go to the astral plane and the effect will remain. So if it's healed, negates will get rid of the effect. So if you had that as a hit and the opponent chose to negate it, then it would actually negate the full effect and it would just be removed from the game or to the
So
discard
now,
pile.
Joe, you're not allowed to negate your own cards, right, though?
You are not, but if say it was a hit on Mole Man and Phil decided to negate it on his turn, that's the only way that it would happen.
Sure.
Unfortunately, man, if Sean had had an energy power card that hand with the no activators event, he could have gotten that remove visor through as a gigantic attack, and there wouldn't have been much Phil could have done about it. But um,
Phil did
I
the only thing he could. He conceded right away before the
yeah,
battle even started.
and let's point out too, Phil's in the unfortunate position where White Queen died with the JW placed to the home base. He has now clogged that slot up. All right, so Sean's got a full board here. Miller's down to 2 characters. Sean is going to switch gears and just try to take out his 8 ranker. What do you think of that? I feel like I would still try to kill Mole Man.
No,
Oh
I'm going.
my god. Did you see what he just played?
I'm going for Strange also.
You're going
I
for
agree.
Strange?
Yeah. The Mole Man negates, or some of them are out. Like I would go for the 7 and 8 power cards that are left.
But I guess that is true if you succeed. So Phil does have his battle sight negate left. That would have got rid of a teamwork and the other 2 basics off the armory. That could have been devastating, but Phil manages to have the defense for it. All right, so even though he's got the 9 there, they both make the mistake, and Sean Ballantyne does defend Cyclops with a special. Shouldn't have been able to do that, but that's part of the game. You know, it's a lot to track in these game states, and people miss it sometimes. The Jay-Z is going to come across. He's got the 5 multi to block it, and then Sean,
Gonna play Hades to
interesting. I thought Sean had bet. Oh no, he bet 3 the previous hand, so he's going to reset the venture again. I love this. You know, he's just going to make Phil just keep drawing into this deck with all of these character special cards. It looks like each player is going to be able to draw 2 more cards and keep duplicates. That's what that event is. With 3 characters to Phil's 2, that's definitely going to be an advantage. Phil's going to drop 3 spawn specials for a dead spawn. Sean Ballantyne is looking at his hand. He's got a card face down, maybe a duplicate. I'm not sure what it is. He's got a duplicate 2. I think it was interesting placing the image inducer to Doctor Strange. I feel like I would have placed that to Cyclops, and then whichever target I want to put it on, that's kind of a ward for Cyclops. You know, you like right now it's going to work out, but there might be a time I want to sack Doctor Strange. He's only got 3 playable cards.
I mean, it's an odd card in the deck. I don't really see it fits. I mean, I guess you can pull it over to use the avoid. I
The idea of it is, and I can tell you because I played 2 of them. It's the way you defend Cyclops and keep throwing the 9s.
Okay.
Because once the first 9 is thrown, if it's successful, he's so hard to defend. So it's a way to just, if they start gunning for him, you can stack him heavy and have a card that kind of puts the heat somewhere else.
You know
Now,
me, I'm allergic to cards that don't affect the picture.
yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously it's successful for you. So one of the things I found, interestingly enough, is people gravitate toward the armory. It's a 3 cost base instead of a 2 cost for the Spartan training ground. It is
Sure.
definitely better in a lot of ways, but I found with the Cyclops deck, I had him in a deck where I was playing the 5 intellects, and I found that the trainings were actually a lot better at keeping him alive.
Was that the deck that played Banshee as well? Because in that
Yeah,
deck, really good to have those.
that's was the other thing. Yeah, I had Banshee in it, so they were coming through and they were making his 5 intellect so they could block 10 attacks.
Yeah, that extra one to get it from a 9 to a 10 makes all the difference in the world.
Mm. I love my Banshee, but he's not quite as strong as he used to be. The Shatter Shriek just doesn't hit like it used to.
It's a shame. It's a fun deck.
All right. And these guys have got to be, they've played a lot of hands.
Yeah, and they play fast. They've got to be getting low.
I think this might be Phil's last draw till he's in Power Pack. So he's going to focus on Cyclops. That's going to be a good strategy here. You know, there's not a lot. Sean's pretty much at the point where he's got to use power cards to defend him. So,
Well, we certainly haven't seen Phil play his power yet, so that's like one piece of power that he got hit.
yep. And then Sean puts out the image inducer to be able to shift hits to X-Man, which is going to be his strategy to help keep both of these other targets alive and just spread all Phil's damage out.
I do find it interesting that he can still shift behind that avoid camp attack.
Mhm.
It's amazing how many playable cards best two.
So Phil uses up that aspect. That makes it so his home base does not have any other usable placing slots. He won't have any more aspects to place, and it's clogged up with the white queen card. That's going to drastically reduce the amount of placed cards he can carry battle to battle. You know, Sean's just looking to keep winning these small incremental ventures and maintain the ability to just brute force place more cards.
Joe, how many times have you got that reverse visor to go through?
Oh my god, that's my favorite card in the game. My favorite part of that card is where it's so deceptive is it's the only card in the game where you can hit someone with a 7 and then have a kill shot with one attack. And people never expect that. You know, I've won some pretty good matches with mathing out that there's only one or two cards left in the deck that can defend it, and I'll hit with a Cyclops 7 fighting and then throw it for the kill for a single attack.
Yeah, two card kills, basically trump cards.
Yeah, well, until before that, the only way you could really do it is if you hit them with an 8. You know, there were a couple of ways. Like, basically, if you hit him with an 8, you could do like a Thor 12. But other
Yeah,
than that, there
uh,
was not a lot of ways you could get a KO with only one card as a hit.
yeah, it was usually like a 9 and 11.
Yeah, you'd have to do like one per dex or something like that. But yeah, when it's people really underestimate a 7, they don't expect to be able to be killed with just a 7 on their grid.
Yeah,
So
especially with
Sean activates the image inducer and then fires back with the card we were just talking about, Cyclops' wide beam, 7 fighting attack.
it's always great to see cards from the original set still seen.
Yeah, for sure. That's been my favorite thing about some of these home bases is just making it so some of the old characters have a lot more utility.
I feel like Sean having to discard cards off his deck this late in the images.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. You know, I think what I can't really tell what they ventured, but if I'm Ballantyne, my strategy here is to make a huge bet and then just be like, I'm going to kill Doctor Strange this hand, come hell or high water. I've got enough time limit. I've got an image. You know, he took 3 hits before he started to image induce, and I think his mentality here is I'm gonna absorb as many cards as I can and not block them, and I'm gonna kill Doctor Strange, or you're gonna concede and give me a bunch of venture.
I mean, it's a good strategy. I mean, the second the Doctor gets knocked out,
Now, it looks like, you know, Phil Miller has, I think, got the beast in his hand, which is going to pull off the only universe. So probably Sean's thinking exactly what I said, and he's not anticipating that. Now, I really want to know what he's copied here.
JW maybe, or it's not on the table. Oh yeah, yeah it is. Oh yeah, it is. It's still a JW. It's still on the table. Oh my god.
Oh my God, that is such a sick play. The JW is a dead card. So he's gonna switch that out, just so they can track the venture. But what happened there is, oh, he's doing the remove visor. Oh, this is gonna be brutal. He is gonna do an only universe, isn't he? Or no, he did the E. Woo, a lot of big
Yeah,
swings here. That power mimicking the JW that was from a dead character was so clever. Sean had to use one of his basic universes to block the 8. He used a 6 and a basic to block the 8 as well. So that Dracula Armory being a defensively key card to keep X-Man alive.
yeah, that armory.
I think Phil's gonna go for Cyclops, and
That's enough kill.
it is enough. I
But
think you're gonna see him shift it and use the
and then block.
lockout.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he's put himself in a position where he has to commit to trying to get this kill, and he's just not realizing that Phil's got the only universe in his hand. and that's what's going to come out right here. And that is a devastating card right now. I mean, Sean's still 3-2. We're not sure exactly where they are on the venture, but
I mean, Sean now used up all of his place cards, right? So Phil has managed his one teamwork going into power pack, assuming close
and don't forget
to.
Phil's just a little too. Just a little
That's
too.
all it takes.
Now, how did Phil get a second morph activator? Did he draw a card somehow?
Good question.
Or did he have it off Beyonder maybe? Like the 2 was
Yeah,
off of Beyonder?
I would guess it's under. I haven't.
Wow, so Sean's got the 11. Is that enough? I mean, it locks his team down from attacking. I don't think it's going to be enough to put him over the top.
Fairy protection.
Wow,
Yep.
that's brutal too. So hold on, if he had done the fairy protection on the 5, would he have won there?
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
god.
so you're seeing kind of the disadvantage to the Cyclops card. You know, you can really generate a ton of offensive pressure with those 9s, but even though he had the fairy protection in his hand, he couldn't defend a basic 2 fighting morph card. So now Sean finds himself in a position where now this is why Overpower is great. The play can make it so swingy. You just never give up. It's not like a game of Magic where they just get to a point where it's insurmountable. Phil's managed to come back. He's knocked out a character, and now he's got 2 8 characters versus an 8 and a max 6, but all the characters are painted up with damage.
It's hard to believe. Yeah, it's hard to believe that Phil's still in this after that round where Sean took out his good characters.
Yeah, losing both those frontline characters, I thought this game was over, but and even I think Phil's actually decently ahead on missions at this point. So it looks like Sean is making a big bet here. I didn't see what it was, but it looks like he's betting for the loss just to get a big bet out. Miller looks to be entirely in power pack. Man, it must only be 1 or 2 for the loss because I didn't see Miller draw any cards unless he's just choosing not to.
Oh, Joe, you know what? He had that morph because of the event that allowed him to draw 2 and keep the teams.
I see. Yep, that's exactly what it is. He fires off the teamwork. He gets the kill on X-Man, leaving just Doctor Strange with a ton of damage on him. Almost everything's going to be for the kill here. Can Sean's just got to fire that 8 off and hope it hits, I think. Oh, it's not for the kill even. So, all right. He throws the 1. He does get him. Oh,
Yeah, he can't
oh
take a
no. Oh no. He's throwing a 10 over the top. It kills him.
Oh,
Wow.
for the
What a
win.
game. Throws
Oh,
the 10 with the basic universe. 7 plus 3 makes it a 10. Valentine is at least enough in power pack that Phil's probably already tracked everything. Probably the only thing left was the Freya. I don't remember seeing it, but kind of knows the odds are pretty high that he's going to just be able to go 1-2, and he knocks out both of his characters and wins the game.
oh my gosh.
Ugh.
I mean, I have to say, I haven't seen a game where the armory played such a big role in
In
that was
both
massive.
directions too. You know,
Yeah.
Sean being able to block Phil's JW8 with the 6+3 was huge as well. The armory was so important there. What a crazy swingy match.
And the
I
Captain
just
Universe right there being his last one didn't allow him to block them.
Exactly. You know, it's good to get that 10 over the top, but I almost think if anything, this is to me sort of a cautionary tale about if you're going to pay for the armory, just take that third basic universe.
It's really tough. I've gone back and forth and I've played it both ways, and I really don't know which is right. It depends exactly what's in your deck. I do find that most of the time I don't use more than 2 of the universe cards. Um, but the number of times where that's the last one, you really feel it.
That was honestly one of the funner matches we've done in a while. Just the swings, there was so many great innovative plays there. I really think, you know, Phil copying the JW with the power mimic was such a huge play.
Yeah, that was great.
All right. Well, guys, that was round 3 of Champ of Champs. So I think at that point, Sean Ballantyne's day is probably done. Where it's only 5 rounds of Champ of Champs, as Phil the King Keffer pointed out. So I think that knocks Ballantyne out. You know, Phil had a rocky start. He went 0-2, so he pulls off a big win here, but we'll see if he's going to be able to get enough wins to make the top 8. He's going to have to win his next 2 matches and still hit it on tiebreakers. So we will join you at round 4 next.